So thank you again for joining us. We're really excited to have you here for this summit, looking at the impacts of natural hazards and examining the scientific research behind how we can respond to and mitigate them. We have a 6-hour summit for you today with several themes that we're going to go over. And first, we're going to have some opening remarks from several of our hosts really for the day, which are from the University of Houston, which is presenting today's session. And before that, we'll hear from our TAMEST board president. I'll just quickly go over the agenda for today and some of the themes that we're going to cover. We have 4 themes that we're going to address during today's Natural Hazards Summit. The first will cover prediction, warning, and response to alerts and warnings. The second will be emergency response and recovery. The third will be long-term outlook, risk, and mitigation for climate change. And the fourth will be engineering and designing for resilience. We have for each of these themes a speaker, plenary speaker for the first 3 and a panel. And then for the fourth theme, we have a panel. We have about 3 hours of programming to kick us off, and we'll take a break around noon Central Time for lunch. We'll reconvene at 1 p.m. Central and continue until about 3 p.m. Central Time. If at any point you have a question for one of the speakers, we encourage you to use the Q&A function, which is at the bottom of your screen, and to type your question. You can really enter your question at any point during the speaker presentation, and then we'll have time set aside for Q&A at the end of each session. We are also on social media, and we'd love to amplify the conversation there. You can find us on Twitter it's at TAMESTX, and we are using the hashtag Natural Hazards Summit for this, and you can see some of our other social media accounts there as well. With that, I'm very happy to introduce our TAMEST board president and president emeritus of the University of Texas at Dallas, a TAMEST member for the National Academy of Engineering, and I want to thank him for all of his service and time that he gives to our organization. We'll first hear from David E. Daniel, board president of TAMEST. David, we'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Terrence, and thanks to all of you for joining us for the Natural Hazards Summit. We sure wish we could be at the University of Houston for this, but we're so glad to have you with us virtually. This is the first of a 2-part summit addressing impacts of natural hazards. I want to take a moment to thank the University of Houston for presenting part 1 of the summit today. They put a lot of work into this, and it shows with a terrific program. We simply wouldn't have been able to do this without the University of Houston and the people you'll hear from in a couple of minutes support. The second part of this summit will take place at Texas Tech University in Lubbock on May 16th, 2022. We will send every one of today's participants an invitation to part 2 of the summit, and we hope that you can join us. I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to our supporting sponsors of today's event, HEB and Texas State University. We can't pull these off without support from companies and universities. HEB is just a terrific company in responding to natural hazards and keeping their stores open, amazing. And Texas State University is really on the move, building their research portfolio, and we thank both for their support today. We also want to express our appreciation to the planning committee. These sorts of events never get pulled off without hard work behind the scenes, and these folks are really, really critical in making today's program a reality. Well, let me tell you just a word about TAMEST. We're a not-for-profit organization founded in 2004 by the Honorable then Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, working closely with Texas Nobel laureates Michael Brown and Richard Smalley. We have 320 members approximately of TAMEST and 16 supporting member institutions. The individual members are all members of one of the 3 U.S. national academies, the National Academy of Sciences, National Academy of Engineering, or National Academy of Medicine, as well as the Royal Society and the state's 10 Nobel laureates. Our mission is to bring together the brightest minds in medicine, engineering, science, and technology just to foster collaboration, bring and keep more talent to Texas, and bring and keep more research and technology, medicine, and engineering and science related businesses to Texas as well. We're eager to explore what's going on behind natural disasters in today's program to improve our responses to them and to mitigate their impacts. For me personally, I'm most interested in steps we can take to make the situation better 10 years from now, so that we're not just putting back in place what we had before and waiting for the next natural disaster to strike. We convened some of the top researchers, industry leaders, and policy makers on natural disasters from across Texas and across the country. If at any point you have any questions, just go to the Q&A box that's in your control panel, and please do ask your questions. But before we start our summit, I want to invite two key people from the University of Houston to make remarks. The first will be Dr. Elnashai, Vice President and Vice Chancellor for Research and Technology Transfer, both for the University of Houston and the University of Houston system. Dr. Elnashai is a member of TAMEST and a fellow of the Royal Academy of Engineering. Dr. Elnashai's opening remarks will be followed by Dr. Hanadi Rafe, the John and Rebecca Morse Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Houston, and the leader of the U of H's Hurricane Resilience Research Institute, and a key individual leading the planning committee for today's event. So, Drs. Elnashai and Rafe, let me turn it over to you, and Amr, we'll start with you, please.
Thank you very much, David, for the introduction, and thank you, TAMEST, for being such a wonderful partner. It was really impressive. The first time I attended a TAMEST meeting was when I joined UH in 2017, and I've observed the organization and its programs. It really is impressive. Many of you would recall that in 2017 meeting, there was a delegation from the state of Florida who came to investigate how can they set something similar. So TAMEST is not just leading Texas, it really is leading the nation and setting a model and a framework for getting the national academies and affiliated others to work towards the goal of improving our society and improving the quality of life. Great organization, great partnership with the University of Houston. Of course, David is a great friend as well, and he used to be my boss, by the way, but a number of years ago. I'm very proud to say that I worked for him. The University of Houston is very much invested in this activity, in sustainability in general, in resilience. Our research enterprise has grown pretty significantly in the last 10, 15 years. This year, we are actually number 3 in the state of Texas in terms of research expenditure, just over $200 million. We continue to be top of the league of public universities in terms of IP income. This year's income was $60 million in IP revenue. We have seen tremendous expansion in the last couple of years, amazingly, even under these very tough conditions that we are all navigating. This year, there has been a 27% increase in research income at the University of Houston. So now just my duty is to get them to spend, so that income is not a metric, spending is a metric. So we have to keep going. We have about 14 or 15 National Academy members at the University of Houston, a very significant number. And we have a large number of National Academy of Inventors on the faculty as well. One thing that I wanted to share with you is that we have just launched what we refer to as the Presidential Frontier Faculty Hiring Program. We are actually hiring 100 additional faculty. Replacement lines continue, but these are 100 faculty managed, hired, organized totally centrally. They are placed in colleges, but they are managed from the center. And they are focused on addressing major societal challenges in 4 areas of energy, health, sustainability, and security. We started this year with 25 lines, fully funded in terms of salary and startups, and the ads have been out. And we really look forward to establishing, if you like, a new model for hiring faculty thematically, not based on colleges. They will be housed and managed from a career point of view by colleges, but really managed centrally. A large part of our portfolio is sustainability, and sustainability in its broadest sense, but specific to the mission of this particular conference is, if you like, disaster resilience, especially hurricane resilience. Back in 2017, October 2017, following Hurricane Harvey, we decided not to let a disaster go to waste. And we immediately started planning on launching an institute for hurricane resilience. And it has been operating very nicely since then. We have a very good partnership with LSU, University of Miami, University of Florida, and UT Tyler. They have internal calls for proposals. There were 7 or 8 or 9 internal projects that brought the team together and built teams. And they have submitted a large number of proposals jointly, and some of them have been successful as well. And we continue with the partnership in a very vigorous way. Our vision for resilience is very much tied to our vision for sustainable and smart cities, in the broadest sense of a city that is totally interconnected. All infrastructure systems are operated as components of a larger system. All data is curated and used. All systems are self-adjusting, self-repairing, if you like, and the interactions between everything and everything else is taken into account, from transportation, and within transportation, from land transportation to air to river to maritime transportation, all linked and all interchangeable in the sense of carrying customers from one place to another. At the same time, the intensity of, if you like, the impact of the transportation system on the environment in terms of water quality, air quality, is taken into account and adjusted in real time. This is sort of the vision that we built the Hurricane Resilience Research Institute, and we aspire to this particular level of resilience of a city that adjusts to what's happening around it and optimizes its own operation with very little interference. And talking about aspiring, we are also building what we refer to as the Aspire Institute for Smart Cities, also led by Hanadi Rifai, who will talk right after me. And Hanadi is also the director of the Hurricane Resilience Research Institute. And currently, she is the coordinator of this new Aspire Institute. The Aspire initiative is a very significant donation that we got from an anonymous donor. And the donor is interested in establishing 4 world-class research institutes at the University of Houston. And it was decided that one of them will be focused on smart cities. So we are totally invested in this activity. We have an enormous vision that we push for. We have invested and continue to invest, and the partnership with our Texas institutions around the state is critical to us. Of course, TAMEST is sort of a non-partisan, if you like, organization, but also our partners at UT and A&M and Texas Tech and the branches of both big universities and other universities. We look very much forward to developing solutions to our city and to our state that is based on not just technological advancements, but also how these are implemented in a societal context. What is their impact on legislation? What can work and what cannot work? And how can we adjust our non-STEM, if you like, components of society to be resilient and support the resilience of the physical infrastructure? At this stage, I would like to very much introduce Hanadi Rifai, who is a distinguished professor at the University of Houston. She holds the John and Rebecca Moore's chair in civil and environmental engineering, and she is really the key person in this activity, as not only the Associate Dean for Research in the College of Engineering, which at this moment is the largest research expanding college at the University of Houston, but also as the very able director of the Hurricane Resilience Research Institute and the current coordinator of the building of the new Aspire Institute for Smart Cities.
Amar, thank you so much. I could not have introduced myself better. I want to thank my colleagues who provided opening remarks. I'm delighted that we are finally here with the summit. It has been a long time in coming, got delayed a couple of times due to COVID-19. Really, the only thing I would add is that in the Institute, we're focused on being your premier resource to find solutions and enhance knowledge about natural hazards. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Terrence and ask him to launch the program. I am very excited to hear what everyone has to say and the information they're going to share with us. Thanks again.